A doctor kidnaps a young man to get revenge, then performs surgery that turns him into a woman. But what could that young man have possibly done to deserve something so horrifying? The story begins with a plastic surgeon named Robert giving a lecture at a local university in Spain. He explains that only 9 face transplants have ever been performed worldwide, and he personally took part in 3 of those surgeries. After the lecture, he stops outside the hospital. There, he quietly bribes an employee to get a bag of blood. No one has any idea what Robert is secretly planning inside his home. The blood isn't for a patient. Robert has been carrying out an illegal experiment on a woman named Vera, and he hasn't told anyone about it. He keeps Vera locked inside a room in his house, completely isolated from the outside world. She always wears a full-body compression suit. With nothing else to do, Vera spends her days practicing yoga, reading books, and tearing up her clothes to make unsettling dolls. Every passing day inside that room feels stranger than the one before. A mute woman regularly brings her meals, but that's the only human contact she has. Whenever Vera needs anything else, she uses the voice intercom installed in the room to ask Robert's mother Marilia for it. Behind those locked doors, something far more disturbing is slowly unfolding. Whenever Robert returned from his research center, the first thing he always did was secure the samples he had brought back inside an advanced machine in his lab. After that, he went to his office and reviewed Vera's daily progress reports through the monitoring system. Once he confirmed that everything looked normal, he would go talk to Vera about the project. But one evening, when he returned, something immediately caught him off guard. Vera had grown frustrated with the new research protocols. As an act of defiance, she deliberately rubbed the sharp corners of a large book against her skin until red rashes began to appear. One unexpected decision completely changes the direction of Robert's carefully controlled project. When Dr. Robert reaches her, he notices that the rashes have spread across her skin. He immediately takes Vera into his private skin treatment room and begins treating her. While he's doing that, Vera tells him she'd rather walk away from the project than spend every day living under strict laboratory rules and constant research restrictions. As Robert continues treating her, he quietly thinks to himself that Vera doesn't truly want to give up. She simply needs a break from the project. Robert realizes her frustration runs much deeper than the injuries on her skin. Afterward, Robert begins a new scientific experiment to develop an advanced protective layer made from new skin cells. The project requires specialized natural samples and plant extracts. Just a few days later, the experiment is a complete success, making Robert the only inventor of this groundbreaking skincare technology. A revolutionary breakthrough is quietly born inside the walls of his private lab. This new protective layer is so advanced that changing weather, dust, and even external skin allergies have no effect on it. Robert tests the layer to improve Vera's skin protection and explains that her skin will now remain completely protected, free from cosmetic problems or skin rashes. Even so, Vera has a difficult time adjusting to the change. A few days later, Robert officially unveils his new invention at a major medical symposium before experts from around the world. During his presentation, he claims the entire experiment was conducted only on basic laboratory samples and plant-based compounds, even though the earliest tests were actually performed to help Vera's skin recover. Every breakthrough he presents hides a truth that no one else can see. He tells the audience that this advanced technology could permanently eliminate skin allergies. Robert names the discovery Gal after his wife, who passed away years earlier in a tragic accident. After the lecture, the president of the medical organization pulls Robert aside and asks how he made the protective layer so resistant to every kind of external infection, because the research data appears far beyond conventional medical science. Robert explains that he reprogrammed the cellular structure using a completely new approach. His explanation sounds convincing, but the unanswered questions still remain. Even though Robert has made a remarkable and historic discovery, the president refuses to support the unofficial methods behind it. Citing established medical guidelines, he orders Robert to stop advancing the research and immediately shut the project down. One final decision threatens to erase years of groundbreaking scientific work. After that, Robert goes to see his friend Mark and tells him everything. Mark advises him that it's time to return to his old career as a plastic surgeon. When Robert gets back home, he watches Vera on the monitoring screen for a while before going to see her. He tells her that her treatment is finally complete. She's fully recovered now, and her body doesn't need any more improvements. For the first time, Vera believes her nightmare may finally be over. Hearing that, Vera thanks him and quietly thinks she'll finally be able to live a normal life again. She tries to become intimate with Robert, hoping he'll finally set her free, but Robert feels uncomfortable and walks away. The next day, Marilia tells Robert that Vera is too dangerous and should be killed. Robert ignores her warning and instead tells her to dismiss the rest of the household staff because they no longer need that many people working there. Robert's decision leaves the house quieter, but far more vulnerable than before. After Robert and the staff leave, leave, a man wearing a tiger costume rings the front doorbell and identifies himself through the security camera. Marilia comes outside and tells him that visitors aren't allowed inside the house, but Zeka forces his way in anyway. The moment Zeka crosses the doorway, everything begins falling apart. Marilia decides not to confront him, thinking she'll keep Zeka occupied in the kitchen instead. She gives him something to eat, but while they're there, a breaking news report comes on TV about a jewelry store robbery. The moment Marilia sees it, she realizes Zeka didn't come to visit her at all. He's hiding from the police. Because he was wearing the tiger costume, officers couldn't identify him in the middle of the carnival crowd. One television report exposes the real reason Zeka showed up that night. Zeka tells Marilia that he wants Robert to perform plastic surgery on his face so no one will ever recognize him again. Marilia tells him Robert would never agree to something like that and orders him to leave immediately. A few moments later, Zeka starts searching the kitchen for alcohol. That's when he notices the security camera monitor, where he sees Vera practicing yoga. The instant he sees her face, he recognizes her and can't believe she's still alive because he thought she had died. The woman Zeka believed was dead is suddenly standing right before him. Marilia pulls out a gun she had hidden in the kitchen and orders Zeka to leave, but he lunges at her, wrestles the gun away, and ties her to a chair. He heads upstairs toward Vera's room, but when he finds the door locked, he comes back, threatens his mother, and forces her to hand over the key. The moment he unlocks the door, Vera immediately kicks him in self-defense. Vera struggles with everything she has to break free, but Zeka is much stronger than she is. He overpowers her, carries her onto the bed, and begins forcing himself on her. A few moments later, Robert suddenly comes back home. He sees everything through the security camera feed, immediately pulls out his handgun, rushes to Vera's room, and shoots Zeka. Marilia watches in silence, wishing Robert had killed Vera too. One violent moment shatters everything they believed was finally under control. Afterward, Robert takes Zeka's body away so he can dispose of it. Marilia then tells Vera the truth about Robert and Zeka, explaining that they were actually half-brothers. She says Zeka was born after she had an affair with one of the household servants, but the man abandoned her before Zeka was born. Robert, on the other hand, was fathered by her former employer. Long-buried family secrets suddenly begin reshaping every relationship inside the house. Her employer took the baby from her and gave him to his infertile wife, telling everyone that she had given birth to the child herself. Legally, they became Robert's parents, but Marilia always loved him like her own son and personally raised him. Vera then asks why Zeka acted as if he already knew her. Marilia explains that Vera looks exactly like Robert's late wife, Gal. She also tells Vera that Zeka grew up on the streets without his mother, which led him down a criminal path. One day, while running from the police, he suddenly came back to the house and begged his mother for help. The past refuses to stay buried, no matter how desperately they try.
But that was when Gal saw him, and she fell in love with him at first sight. A few days later, the two of them ran away together. Unfortunately, they were involved in a serious car crash. Zeka survived, but Gal's face was horribly burned. Robert somehow carried Gal back home in his arms and covered every mirror in the house so she would never have to see what had happened to her face. Love alone could never erase the scars left by unimaginable tragedy. One day, Gal heard her daughter singing outside and walked toward the window to see her. Before she reached it, she caught her own reflection in the glass. Her face had become so badly disfigured that she couldn't bear looking at it. Unable to live with what she saw, she jumped out the window and took her own life. Their daughter was left deeply traumatized by her mother's death. Some memories become wounds that never truly stop hurting with time. As Marilia finishes telling Vera the entire story, Robert returns after burying Zeka's body. He finally accepts Vera's offer and spends the night with her. A little later, Robert falls asleep and dreams about the tragic events from 6 years earlier when he attended a wedding with his daughter Norma, hoping she could begin living a normal social life again. The medication she had been taking to recover from the trauma of her mother's death had made her seem like an ordinary teenager again. While the wedding reception is in full swing, Robert suddenly realizes Norma is missing, so he goes into the garden looking for her. When he gets there, he sees a young man speeding away on a motorcycle. The nightmare he thought had ended was only beginning once again. Right then, Robert notices Norma's shoes and coat lying on the ground. Following the trail, he reaches the spot where Norma is lying unconscious, with her clothes out of place. It doesn't take Robert long to realize exactly what the motorcycle rider had done to her. The moment Norma regains consciousness, she mistakes her own father for her attacker and starts screaming uncontrollably. Every heartbreaking clue points toward a truth no father should ever face. Back in the present, Vera dreams about the same incident. In her dream, a young man named Vicente is working with his mother at a dress shop. One day, he attends a party where he notices Norma and starts flirting with her. He leads her into the garden. Feeling overheated, Norma takes off her coat and shoes, but Vicente mistakenly believes she's giving him a signal. He takes her beneath a tree and tries to get physically close to her.
her. A single misunderstanding quickly spirals into a life-changing nightmare for everyone. At first, Norma doesn't seem uncomfortable, but everything changes when the wedding band starts playing a particular song. She suddenly begins screaming at the top of her lungs. It was the same song she used to sing as a child, the song connected to her mother's death. Vicente covers her mouth with his hand, but Norma bites him hard. He responds by repeatedly slapping her, hurriedly straightens her clothes, and runs away. He has no idea that Robert had already seen the license plate on his motorcycle. One overlooked detail will eventually expose the truth hiding behind the crime. A few days later, while Vicente was riding his motorcycle, Robert blocked his path with his van and took him to a secluded location. He then gave Vicente a special sedative to calm him down before moving him into the old research garage at his house. As Vicente became increasingly distressed by his unfamiliar surroundings, Robert tried to calm him with water therapy. Nothing about this carefully planned operation happened by pure chance. That evening, Robert served Vicente nothing but rice and water, following a strict diet plan. Meanwhile, Vicente's mother went to the police station to ask about her son. The officer told her that Vicente's motorcycle had been found near the top of a mountain, leading them to believe he had either disappeared somewhere far away or had left the country altogether. Every answer only pushed the truth farther beyond everyone's reach. At the same time, Robert went to the medical center to visit his daughter, Norma, but she was still deeply traumatized and terrified of Robert's treatment methods. Then one day, Norma's condition suddenly took a severe turn and she passed away. The tragedy devastated Robert, driving him to obsess over completing his project like a scientist consumed by madness. After losing Norma, Robert decided it was finally time to put the finishing touches on his secret project and began preparing to completely transform Vicente. Grief slowly became the fuel behind Robert's disturbing obsession and determination. Robert convinced the other doctors by showing them what appeared to be official research paperwork, stating that the patient wanted to keep his identity completely confidential and begin a new life. Believing the documents were legitimate, the doctors accepted Robert's explanation. A few hours later, when Vicente regained consciousness, he found himself alone inside a specialized observation room. From that moment on, he lived under strict medical supervision inside Robert's house, where he had to carefully care for his new physical condition so his skin and cells could heal properly. Each passing day carried him farther from the life he once knew.
As soon as his skin began to heal, Robert focused on completely transforming his appearance. He gave Vicente an entirely new, highly feminine look, and from then on, Vicente was required to wear a specialized, full-body protective suit because Robert believed it would protect his new skin while helping shape his new body. On his very first day in the room, Vicente tried to catch Robert off guard and escape, but Robert had already prepared extensive security measures. Every possible escape had already been anticipated long before it happened. The moment Vicente reached for the door, Robert drew his gun and ordered him back into the room. With no other choice, Vicente returned. A few weeks later, Vicente underwent the final stage of the advanced cosmetic reconstruction procedure, where Robert gave him a new face connected to memories from his past. After that, Robert gave Vicente a new name, Vera. The transformation was complete, but Vicente's nightmare was only beginning. During the first few days, Vera resisted Robert by tearing up the clothes he gave her and ruining every bit of makeup he brought. The only thing she kept was an eyeliner, which she used to write about everything that had happened to her on the walls. The television was the only source of entertainment in her room. Through it, she learned yoga and spent her time ripping up her clothes to create creepy dolls. A few days later, Robert invited his mother, Marilia, to move into the house because he needed a woman to help take care of Vera. Even complete isolation couldn't erase Vera's determination to resist Robert. From there, the story returns to the present, where Robert and Vera now appear to be living together peacefully. As the two of them step outside the house, Robert's friend Mark arrives to see him. He shows Robert that day's newspaper, which includes a report about several missing people, including Vicente. Since Mark had seen Vicente during the operation, he immediately recognizes Vera and demands to know why Robert lied to him. One unexpected meeting threatened to expose everything Robert had worked to hide. Robert opens a drawer, pulls out a gun, and tries to intimidate Mark. Just then, Vera walks in, bringing their conversation to an abrupt stop. She tells Mark that she had given her full consent to the operation. After hearing that, Mark quietly leaves. The truth remained buried beneath a carefully rehearsed lie and silence. That evening, Vera and Robert grow close once again, but Vera is still suffering from the pain caused by Zeka's attack. She steps out to get some cream, and while she's gone, she secretly takes Robert's gun with her, planning to get revenge. When she returns, she tells Robert that he destroyed her entire life before immediately shooting him. Years of pain finally erupted into one irreversible moment of revenge. Downstairs, Marilia hears the gunshot and rushes upstairs with her own gun in hand, but Vera is already hiding beneath a bed, waiting for her. The moment Marilia walks into the room, Vera shoots her as well. With everything
everything finally over and her captors gone, Vera is finally free. She gathers some clothes and money before escaping from the house. Freedom finally came, but only after unimaginable suffering and sacrifice. The next day, she arrives at her mother's dress shop and proves who she really is by telling her things that only Vicente could possibly know. Hearing those details leaves her mother completely stunned, and the two of them share an emotional reunion. At last, a shattered identity found its way back to the only family left. Sometimes the body survives, but the person never truly comes back. If stories like this stay with you, subscribe to KTS Mosan. Some endings never fade, they stay with you.